Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, October 14th, 2024. Big Monday show today. MLB playoffs, NFL, college football, WNBA finals, NHL, soccer, golf, NASCAR, Survivor, The Masked Singer, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with the baseball playoffs. We'll go over the results from the weekend and look ahead to the two games today. All right, Friday night, Game 5, Dodgers over the Padres, 2-0 if they win that in 5 games. Saturday, ALDS Game 5, Guardians over the Tigers, 7-3 if they win that series. Is the difference in that game. Grand slam, Lane Thomas off of Tariq Skubal. And then yesterday, Dodgers over the Mets, 9-0 to take a 1-0 series lead in the NLCS. All right, so I gave you guys my pick if it was Dodgers-Mets on the podcast on Friday. Then I said Mets in 6. I still feel pretty okay about that. Say the Mets win all 3 at home and they win Game 6, or they get the win tonight and they win 2 at City, then you're up 3-2. That's all. And then, so now I'm going to pick the ALCS, Yankees-Guardians, best player in the series. No, he was not good against the Royals, but still Aaron Judge. Just like Shohei Ohtani really didn't do much against the Padres, he's still the best player in that Dodgers-Mets series. Same thing. Best pitcher in the series, Garrett Cole. He wasn't good in Game 1 against the Royals, but he was really good in the closeout game against the Royals. He's the reigning Cy Young winner, so Garrett Cole is easily the answer there. Managerial advantage. Stephen Vogt made some questionable decisions in that series against the Tigers. Aaron Boone actually did a nice job against the Royals. I was surprised. He outmanaged Matt Cotero, but Cotero never made a playoff series, so that makes some sense. But I thought Vogt had a better regular season because that team overachieved, and he got a lot of those guys, especially that Shane Bieber. And Boone, I feel like, is a better manager than people give him credit for, including myself. With a managerial edge, I am, from a regular season standpoint, I would say Stephen Vogt, but overall, or this season standpoint, Stephen Vogt, but overall, Aaron Boone, if that makes sense. So, storyline of the series. Could the Yankees finally break their World Series drought? And if they don't, if not now, then when? All the pressure is on them this round. No team in this round is facing more pressure than the Yankees. The Dodgers are second, a distant second, and then I'd say the Mets are third, then the Guardians. And the reason why I put the Mets ahead of the Guardians is because I think there's a little pressure on the Mets now because of the Subway Series aspect. If the Yankees weren't even in it, then the Mets, I guess, would be still 3 or 4. I don't know. But all the pressure's on the Yankees. Let's see how they respond to the pressure. They did a good job in the previous round, but stakes are higher. And, of course, they're playing a team that they've had success against in the playoffs in the past. They beat them in the playoffs the last 3 times they saw them. They saw them 2 years ago in the ALDS, beat them in 5 games. They saw them in the COVID year. They swept them in the wild card series. And then in 2017, they came back from 2-0 down and beat them in 5. So, they have some success against the Guardians in the playoffs in this iteration of the Guardians with Jose Ramirez. And you can make a case for him for best guy in the series if you want to make the case for the Guardians to win. And Stephen Kwan's a pain in the butt in terms of pitchers. He's always on base. And that guy is fast. He's a good defensive player. But yeah, look out for him too to have an impact in the series. All right, so the pick. I have to pick the Yankees. I think it goes 6. I think it's a better series people give him credit for. I think Jose Ramirez will have some moments. I think Steven Kwanson will have some moments. I think Cleveland's going to be a tough place to play. That place is tougher to play than Kansas City, in my opinion. That crowd's going to be ruckus. But I understand the tortured history with the Guardians. So they have Alex Cobb going in Game 1, and the Yankees have Rodon, and it's Garrett Cole and Tanner Bibbe. Tanner Bibbe is good. And then Game 3 is Clark Schmidt and TBD. Maybe they're going to do a bullpen game. And Luis Hill Game 4. But yeah, the Guardians don't have the rotation set up behind Alex Cobb and Tanner Bibbe. And sometimes those bullpen games either hurt or help a team. I mean, it helped the Tigers against the Guardians. It helped the Guardians in Game 5 against the Tigers. But yeah, the bullpen games tend to help the team that's doing it rather than hurt it. But I think Yankees in 6. That should be the favorite outcome in the series, but it's probably 5 or 4 because of how public of a team the Yankees are and how the Guardians have the AL Central reputation. So the Yankees are minus 205. The Guardians are plus 172. The favorite for correct score is Yankees in 6. Okay, that's the right call. That should be the favorite outcome. That's what I think it's going to be. Yankees in 6. That's plus 340. And it's going to be a good series. And then a pick for ALCS MVP. I'm going to go with Juan Soto because I feel like this is going to be his moment. Aaron Judge is not a good playoff performer, as we know. And I could see Juan Soto having an impact. He almost hit a home run in KC. And I feel like the moment's there for him. He's in a contract year, obviously. So I'm going to say Juan Soto's going to be our ALCS MVP. And I didn't even pick the NLCS MVP. So I think Mets in 6. I pretty much did that series preview Friday in case it was the Dodgers. And I'm going to say the NLCS MVP is going to be Francisco Lindor because he's been the best player on the Mets since they've turned their season around. And then now let's pick the games for tonight. 5 o'clock Fox Sports 1, Dodgers, Mets. You have Sean Manaea going for the Mets. And we do not know who's going for LA. So the Dodgers minus 142. The Mets are plus 120 over under 8.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Mets plus 1.5 is minus 184. Dodgers minus 1.5 plus 152. I'm going to take the Mets at plus 120 because we don't know who's pitching for the Dodgers. It might be a bullpen game. And I don't trust the Dodgers relief pitchers. And I think this is a perfect bounce-back opportunity for the Mets. All the Mets have done after losses this season, including the postseason, is respond. I'm taking the Mets at plus 120. And then 7:30 TBS, Guardians, Yankees. So, by the way, the Mets are 4 o'clock on Fox. I thought they were Fox Sports 1, so 4 o'clock on Big Fox. So that makes sense. Guardians, Yankees, 7:30 TBS. Brian Anderson. Excuse me. Brian Anderson, Ron Darling, Jeff Francoeur. And by the way, on the Big Fox, it's going to be Joe Davis and John Smoltz and Ken Rosenthal. So, Carlos Rodon, Alex Cobb tonight. Yanks minus 164, Guardians plus 138, over under 7.5, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 156, Yanks minus 1.5 plus 130. I think the Guardians are going to steal one of these two at Yankee Stadium. I just don't know which one it's going to be. But I think this is an over game because of the pitchers. I don't trust Alex Cobb in Yankee Stadium. Some of these veterans in the lineup have had success against him. And Carlos Rodon I don't trust either. So I'm going over 7.5 at minus 105. All right, now move on to the NFL. Over Sunday's results and look ahead to Monday Night Football between the Bills and the Jets. In London, Bears over the Jaguars, 35-16. Texans over the Pats, 41-21. Ravens over the Commanders, 30-23. Eagles over the Browns, 20-16. Packers over the Cardinals, 34-13. Bucks over the Saints, 51-27. Colts over the Titans, 20-17. Chargers over the Broncos, 23-16. Steelers over the Raiders, 32-13. Lions over the Cowboys, 47-9. Falcons over the Panthers, 38-20. And then Sunday Night Football, Bengals over the Giants, 17-7. So now tonight, 8:15 on ABC and ESPN, Bills-Jets. MetLife's going to be rocking for the second night in a row. My line's Jets 1.5, total 42, and 3/5 ended. It's Bills 1.5, total 40.5. I'm taking the Jets plus 1.5 and minus 102 outright. New coach theory, ruckus crowd. Josh Allen historically has played like crap at MetLife Stadium against the Jets. So this is a history bet, a new coach bet, a revenge angle for Aaron Rodgers because this was the matchup where he got hurt last year. Everyone has been mocking the Jets, firing the coach, and they're going to be out to prove a point. I'm going to take the Jets plus 1.5 and minus 102 to win the game straight up. All right, now move on to college football. We'll go over the results from the weekend, and don't forget we have games Tuesday again this week. So tomorrow's podcast we'll preview and pick them. All right, we'll begin with Friday. Northwestern over Maryland, 37-10. UNLV over Utah State, 50-34. Arizona State over number 16 Utah, 27-19. Saturday, number 7 Alabama over South Carolina, 27-25. Number 10 Clemson over Wake Forest, 49-14. Number 21 Missouri over UMass, 45-3. Iowa over Washington, 40-16. Wisconsin over Rutgers, 42-7. Georgia Tech over North Carolina, 41-34. Ball State over Kent State, 37-35. Buffalo over Toledo, 30-15. Army over UAB, 44-10. Miami of Ohio over Eastern Michigan, 38-14. Number 1 Texas over number 18 Oklahoma, 34-3. Number 4 Penn State over USC, 33-30 in overtime. Number 11 Notre Dame over Stanford, 49-7. Number 22 Pitt over Cal, 17-15. Number 23 Illinois over Purdue, 50-49 in overtime. Louisville over Virginia, 24-20. Cincinnati over UCF, 19-13. Colorado State over San Jose State, 31-24. San Diego State over Wyoming, 27-24. Old Dominion over Georgia State, 21-14. Western Michigan over Akron, 34-24. Northern Illinois over Bowling Green, 17-7. Memphis over South Florida, 21-3. Number 14 BYU over Arizona, 41-19. Ohio over Central Michigan, 27-25. Number 5 Georgia over Mississippi State, 41-31. UL Monroe over Southern Miss, 38-21. Number 8 Tennessee over Florida, 23-17 in overtime. New Mexico over Air Force, 52-37. Washington State over Fresno State, 25-17. Texas State over Arkansas State, 41-9. North Texas over FAU, 41-37. Rice over UTSA, 29-27. Number 3 Oregon over number 2 Ohio State, 32-31. Number 13 LSU over number 9 Ole Miss, 29-26 in overtime. Nevada over Oregon State, 42-37. Louisiana over App State, 34-24. Vandy over Kentucky, 20-13. Number 11 Iowa State over West Virginia, 28-16. Syracuse over NC State, 24-17. Georgia Southern over Marshall, 24-23. Minnesota over UCLA, 21-17. Number 18 Kansas State over Colorado, 31-28. Number 17 Boise State over Hawaii, 28-7. So, there you have it for college football. Now move on to the WNBA finals. We had game 2 yesterday. And it was a very interesting game. Liberty bounced back with an 80-66 win over the Lynx, as that series is now 1 game apiece. Liberty badly needed the game after blowing game 1. They should be up 2-0, and they're not. Game 3 in Minnesota will be Wednesday night, so we'll preview and pick that on the Wednesday show. By the way, Brianna scored 21 points and 5 assists in the win. Nafisa Collier was held to 16-8 in that game. All right, NHL. We haven't done NHL on the podcast in a couple of days. We have to do from Thursday to Sunday because we skipped NHL on the Friday podcast unintentionally. Thursday's results. Bruins over the Habs 6-4. Kings over the Sabres 3-1. Sens over the Panthers 3-1. Leafs over the Devils 4-2. Utah over the Islanders 5-4 in overtime. Penguins over the Red Wings 6-3. Stars over the Predators 4-3. Wild over the Blue Jackets 3-2. Blues over the Sharks 5-4 in overtime. Friday, Lightning over the Hurricanes 4-1. Jets over the Blackhawks 2-1 in overtime. Flyers over the Canucks 3-2 in a shootout. Golden Knights over the Blues 4-3. Saturday, Bruins over the Kings 2-1 in overtime. Sabres over the Panthers 5-2. Leafs over the Penguins 4-2. Habs over the Senators 4-1. Utah over the Rangers 6-5 in overtime. Red Wings over the Preds 3-0. Hurricanes Lightning was postponed because of the hurricane. Devils over the Capitals 5-3. Stars over the Islanders 3-0. Kraken over the Wild 5-4 in a shootout. Jackets over the Avalanche 6-4. Flames over the Flyers 6-3. Blackhawks over the Oilers 5-2. Ducks over the Sharks 2-0. And then Sunday, Jets over the Wild 2-1 in overtime. Stars over the Kraken 2-0. Flames over the Oilers 4-1. Golden Knights over the Ducks 3-1. We have a couple of matinee games today because of the holiday. So 1 o'clock, Panthers Bruins. Bruins minus 130, Panthers 108, over under 5.5, overs minus 122, unders even money. Panthers plus 1.5 is minus 240, Bruins minus 1.5 plus 195. Cup chance as a dog, I'm taking it plus 108 against a team that they've had some good history against recently. Kings Senators. Sens minus 115, Kings minus 105, over under 5.5, overs minus 130, unders plus 106. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 65, add Sens minus 1.5 plus 215. I'm going with the under plus 106. Utah Devils. Devils minus 146. Utah plus 146 over under 6.5. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. Utah plus 1.5 is minus 166. Devils minus 1.5 plus 138. I think Utah's due to lose. I do. So I'm going to go with the Devils in regulation at minus 115. 7 o'clock NHL Network. Red Wings Rangers from the Garden. Rangers minus 205, Red Wings plus 168, over under 6.5, overs plus 102, unders minus 124. Detroit plus 1.5 is minus 150, Rangers minus 1.5 plus 125. I'm going to go with the over. 7:30, Penguins Habs. Pens minus 134, Habs plus 112, over under 6.5, overs minus 102, unders minus 120. Pens minus 1.5 plus 184, Habs plus 1.5 is minus 225. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in regulation, plus 115. And last but not least, 9 o'clock, Islanders Avalanche. Avs minus 164, Isles plus 136, over under 6.5, overs minus 8, unders minus 112. Isles plus 1.5 is minus 176, Avs minus 1.5 plus 146. That's a high total for that game. I'm going to go with the under. All right, now move on to soccer. We're going to go over the results of note from the weekend, and we'll look ahead to today as well. We'll begin with Friday. UEFA Nations, Estonia over Azerbaijan 3-1, Germany over Bosnia and Herz 2-1, Czech Republic over Albania 2-0, Hungary Dutch 1-1 draw, Iceland, Wales 2-2 draw, Slovakia, Sweden 2-2 draw, Turkey over Montenegro 1-0, Ukraine over Georgia 1-0. Calm the ball, Peru over Uruguay 1-0, Women's League, Portland over Orlando 2-0, International Friendly, Cambodia over Chinese Taipei 3-2, Africa Cup of Nations, Equatorial Guinea over Liberia 1-0, Mozambique, Eswatini 1-1 draw, Zambia, Chad 0-0 draw, Gambia, Madagascar 1-1 draw, Benin over Rwanda 3-0, Cameroon over Kenya 4-1, Egypt over Mauritania 2-0, Nigeria over Libya 1-0, Uganda over South Sudan 1-0, South Africa over Congo 5-0, Angola over Niger 2-0, Gabon, Lesotho 0-0 draw, Ivory Coast over Sierra Leone 4-1, Mali over Guinea-Bissau 1-0, Senegal over Malawi 4-0, and Comoros over Tunisia 1-0. CONCACAF Nations, Martinique over Guadeloupe 1-0, St. Martin over Puerto Rico 3-2, Grenada, Curacao 0-0 draw, Suriname, Costa Rica 1-1 draw, Haiti over Aruba 3-1, St. Lucia over St. Martin 2-1, Guatemala over Guyana 3-1, and then that's really it for Friday. Saturday, UEFA Nations League, Kosovo over Lithuania 2-1. Bulgaria, Luxembourg, 0-0 draw. Croatia over Scotland 2-1. Belarus, Northern Ireland, 0-0 draw. Romania over Cyprus 3-0. Portugal over Poland 3-1. Serbia over Switzerland 2-0. Spain over Denmark 1-0. MLS, Columbus over New England 4-0. Women's League, Gotham over Chicago 2-0. Angel City, North Carolina 1-1 draw. KC over Bay FC 1-0. English Women's Super League, Chelsea over Arsenal 2-1. Friendlies, Vietnam, India 1-1 draw. U.S. over Panama 2-0. Africa Cup of Nations qualifying, Guinea over Ethiopia 4-1. Morocco and Central African Republic, Morocco wins 5-0. CONCACAF Nations, Dominican Republic over Antigua and Barbuda 5-0. Cayman Islands over British Virgin Islands 1-0. Bermuda over Dominica 6-1. Bahamas over U.S. Virgin Islands 3-1. Turks and Caicos over Anguilla 2-1. And then USL, Detroit, Indy, 0-0 draw. Pittsburgh over Charleston, 2-0. Hartford over North Carolina, 4-3. Louisville over Tampa, 2-1. San Antonio over Colorado, 2-1. Memphis, Sacramento, 0-0 draw. Tulsa, New Mexico, 1-1 draw. Phoenix over Oakland, 1-0. And then USL League One, Union Omaha over Lexington, 2-1. Northern Colorado over Charlotte, 2-1. Forward Madison over Chattanooga 2-1, and Greenville over Spokane 3-2. All right, Sunday, UEFA Nations League, Slovenia over Kazakhstan 1-0, North Macedonia over Armenia 2-0, England over Finland 3-1, Liechtenstein and Gibraltar 0-0 draw, Malta over Moldova 1-0, Austria over Norway 5-1, Faroe Islands Latvia 1-1 draw, Greece over Republic of Ireland 2-0, MLS LAFC over Vancouver 2-1. Women's League, Utah over Seattle 3-0. Washington over Louisville 4-1. Houston over San Diego 2-0. Women's Super League, Man United over Tottenham 3-0. Aston Villa, Leicester 0-0 draw. Brighton Hove over Crystal Palace 1-0. Everton, West Ham 1-1 draw. And Man City over Liverpool 2-1. International friendlies, Sri Lanka at Myanmar 0-0 draw. Andorra over San Marino 2-0. Africa Cup of Nations qualifying, Burkina Faso over Burundi 2-0. And then CONCACAF Nations League, Bonaire over Montserrat 1-0. And St. Vincent over El Salvador 2-1. And then USL, Rhode Island, Loudoun 0-0 draw. And Vegas over Birmingham 3-0. Now we'll look ahead to today. All right, Nations League. Group phase. 12 o'clock, Azerbaijan and Slovakia. Trying to pull this up. There we go. Slovakia minus 75, Azerbaijan plus 470, draw plus 260. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals, minus 110. Georgia, Albania. Georgia minus 125, Albania plus 340, draw plus 220. Over 2.5 goals, plus 120. 245, Iceland, Turkey. Turkey minus 110, Iceland plus 270, draw plus 230. I'll go Turkey minus 110. Germany, Dutch. Germany minus 135, Dutch plus 320, draw plus 290. Over 3.5 goals, plus 122. Estonia and Sweden. Sweden minus 550, Estonia is 11-1, the draw is 5-1. I'm going to go with under 2.5 goals at plus, excuse me, plus 126. Italy, Israel. Italy minus 650, Israel's 14-1, the draw is 6-1. Over 3.5 goals, plus 124. Wales, Montenegro. Wales minus 200, Montenegro plus 550, draw plus 270. Over 2.5 goals, minus 108. And Ukraine, Czech Republic. Ukraine plus 165, Czech Republic plus 160 draw plus 210. I'm going to go with the draw at plus 210. And in CONCACAF Nations League, 4 o'clock, Puerto Rico, St. Marin. So, Puerto Rico minus 165, St. Marin plus 400, draws plus 310. St. Marin's actually been pretty good lately. I'm going to go with over 3.5 goals, my bad, at plus 128. Curacao, Granada. Curacao minus 10, Granada 5-1, the draws plus 330. Under 2.5 goals at plus 103. 7 o'clock, St. Lucia and St. Martin. St. Lucia minus 165, St. Marin plus 380, draw plus 330. Under 2.5 goals plus 130. Haiti, Aruba. Haiti's minus 6,000, Aruba's 60-1, the draw is plus 1,900. I'm going to go under 3.5 goals at plus 134. Trinidad and Cuba. Trinidad minus 130, Cuba's 3-1, the draws plus 250. Go with the draw plus 250. Nicaragua and French Guinea. Nicaragua minus 250, Guinea 6-1, the draws plus 330. Over 2.5 goals minus 110. And last but not least, Jamaica, Honduras. Jamaica minus 110, Honduras plus 280, draw plus 220. I'm going to go Jamaica at minus 110. So there you have it for soccer. Now move on to golf. We will recap the tournament from the weekend, which was the Black Desert Championship. Your winner with the score of 23 under, Matt McCarty. Second, 20 under, Stefan Yeager. Tied for third, 19 under, Kevin Stroman, Lucas Glover. Fifth, 18 under, Matthias Schmid. Tied for sixth, 17 under, Harry English and Joe Highsmith. Tied for eighth, 16 under, Lucas Hodges, Nate Hardy. And Henrik Norlander, I missed that. Tied for 11, 15 under, Patrick Rogers, B.U. Hostler, Seamus Power, Nicholas Echeverria, Grayson Sieg, Ben Griffin, Carson Young, YCU on, Trevor Whitney, and Max McGreevy. Tied for 21st with 14 under, Joseph Berlant, Wesley Bryan, Chad Ramey, Ryan Hoey. Tied for 25th with 13 under, Rio Hisatune, Mac Meisner, Trey Mullinax, J.J. Spunker, Katayama, Doug Gibb, Alex Smalley, Nate Taylor, Adam Svensson, Tyler Duncan. Tied for 35th with 12 under, Kevin Sway, Daniel Berger, Harry Hall, Chris Kirk, Will Gordon, Joel Dahman, tied for 40th, 11 under, Joel Diamond, Sam Ryder, and Patrick Knowles. Tied for 43rd with 10 under, Patton Kazir, Evan Van Roy, and Alejandro Tosti. Now we're going to do notables. Tied for 46 with 9 under, Joseph Bridgman, Sean Kim, Ben Coles, Cam Cham, Kyung-Gu Lee, Ryan Fox, Justin Sue, Will Furr. Tied for 54th with 8 under, Lucas Griffin, Scott Piercy, Chester V, Trevor Crow, Tyson Alexander. 60th with 6 under, Eric Barnes. Tied for 61st with 5 under, Nate Lashley, Roger Sloan. Tied for 64th with 3 under, Jason Headley, S.H. Kim. 66th, 2 under, Zach Blair. 67th, 1 under, Vincent Whaley. And even at 68th place, Alexander Jork. 69th with 2 over, Dylan Wu. Among those cut, Chandler Phillips, Ryan Moore, Pearson Coody, Kelly Craft, Kevin Lee Chappell, J.B. Holmes. Oh, no, J.B. Holmes withdrew. Michael Kim, Austin Cook, Callum Tarrant, Justin Lauer, Matt Neesmith, Alex Badley, Matt Trainer. And withdrawing was Holmes, Austin Spalding, Andrew Novak, Michael Thubjorsen. Among those cut also Roger Campos, Paul Bargen, Peter Quest, Brandon Wu, Harry Springer, C.T. Pond, Grayson Higo, Trey Merritt, Sammy Valimaki, Mark Hubbard, Paul Fishburne, Kevin Kisner, Peter Malnati, Luke Lisk, Camilo Vegas, Sean O'Hare, Robbie Shelton, Davis Lipsky, Martin Laird, Kevin Doherty, And that's it for golf. Right now, move on to NASCAR. We'll talk about the results from the weekend from Charlotte. So we'll start with Xfinity. Winning the race, Sam Myers. Second, AJ Allmendinger. Third, Shane Van Gisbergen. Fourth, Austin Hill. Fifth, Chandler Smith. Sixth, Parker Kligerman. Seventh, Justin Allgaier. Eighth, Josh Bilicki. Ninth, Eric Almirola. 10th, Sammy Smith. And the rest. Brendan Jones, Parker Retzlaff, Cole Custer, Alex Labe, Jeb Burton, Anthony Alfredo, Ryan T., Connor Mozak, Jesse Love, Jeremy Clements, Preston Pardis, Matt DiBenedetto, Kyle Sieg, Dawson Cram, Nathan Bird, Brad Perez, Dylan Lupton, Lawless Honeyman, Sage Karam, Austin Green, Ryan Ellis, Riley Herbst, Blaine Perkins, Thomas Anazada, Sheldon Creed, Josh Williams, Eric Jones, and Brennan Poole. And the Cup Series, your winner, Kyle Larson. Second, Chris Bell. Third, William Byron. Fourth, Austin Cindric. Fifth, Chase Elliott. Sixth, AJ Allmendinger. Seventh, Shane Van Gisbergen. Eighth, Joey Logano. Ninth, Bubba Wallace. 10th, Ryan Blaney. The rest: Tyler Reddick, Carson Hocevar, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Chris Buescher, Todd Gilliland, Zane Smith, Harrison Burton, Martin Truex Jr., Josh Berry, Matt Keselowski, Daniel Hemrick, Ryan Preece, Justin Haley, Kaz Grella, Ross Chastain, Josh Bilicki, Daniel Suarez, Noah Gragson, Austin Dillon, Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, Corey LaJoie, and Alex Bowman. All right, next week they're in Vegas, Xfinity and Cup. So we'll preview and pick those on the Friday podcast. All right, now I'm going to do Survivor. We'll talk about the previous 2 episodes because we're behind a little bit, and then we're going to do Masked Singer next. So we'll start with episode 3. So Sue was set against Kyle for voting against her, and further distrusted him when he told her that Gabe planned to take her to the end as a goat. And at Gala, Sam and Annika clashed over shelter improvements, and Andy gave away his shot in the dark to Sierra to build trust in a majority. At Lavo, Rome caught fish but ate most of them for himself, so the tribes to the tribe's joy. Annika, Kyle, and Rome went on a journey where they all had tribe dynamics. Each had to take a 1 in 3 chance for an advantage, with 2 scrolls saying, "Lose your vote." Kyle and Annika each lost 1 vote and chose not to risk further, but Rome won a steal a vote. And then the immunity reward challenge is that one player climbed 2 high obstacles in the ocean and dove down to release a key from a buoy before crossing the balance beam, and the 2 remaining pairs ran the same course and each got one of the 2 remaining buoys from the balance beam, and the keys unlocked puzzle pieces to a larger vertical seahorse puzzle. First 2 tribes to complete the puzzle won immunity plus a large comfort kit and tarp for first place and a smaller kit for second. Gata and Tuku won the challenge, and Tini and Keyshawn found themselves in the middle between the pairs of Genevieve and Rome and Aisha and Sol. But Aisha's instance that Rome be split from his ally drew Tini and Keyshawn's distrust. And then at Tribal, Rome played his idol to negate 1 vote on himself because it was only good for 1 tribal. And Aisha was voted out as I predicted. So how the voting went down. So Genevieve, Rome, and Keyshawn all voted Aisha. Sol voted for Rome, but the vote didn't count because of the idol. And Aisha voted Genevieve. So 3-1-1-0 vote. Alright, so my superlatives. Best move of the episode, Andy giving up the shot in the dark to Sierra in terms of trust, I thought was interesting. Worst move was Lavo completely quitting on the challenge. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, you don't give up on Survivor. My winner pick after this episode, Rachel, and then my prediction for the out in the next episode, in the 4th episode, was Sue. Alright, and then episode 4. With Sol on the bottom of Lavo, Rome considered using his steal vote against him so he couldn't play his shot in the dark. And he later followed Sol around camp to prevent him from searching for an idol, which was really, really dumb. And much to Sol's hate. And at Gata, Sierra was in the middle between the alliances of Annika and Rachel and Andy and Sam. And at Tuku, Sue found the idol, but resulting in a mess of red paint that made Tiana suspicious. And then the tribes worked together for the challenge. The tribes worked together to push a heavy cube down a path, and one person climbed to the cube to retrieve bags. One person then assembled a hollow square and tossed the bags through onto a barrel. 2 tribemates then assembled a vertical flame-shaped puzzle. The first 2 tribes to finish won immunity, plus chickens for first place and 6 eggs for second place. Lavo faltered in the puzzle yet again and lost the challenge. Andy, Caroline, and Teeny were chosen for the journey, where they had to agree within a time limit on one person sacrificing their vote to earn a shared advantage. Teeny did so, and the 3 earned an amulet idol. At Lavo, Rome gave Sol an ultimatum to give him his shot in the dark, or else he would use a steal vote against Sol and vote him out. And Sol was irate, so he refused. However, Genevieve found out that Keyshawn had thrown her name out as a decoy to Rome and convinced Rome and Sol to form a group. And at Tribal, Rome stole Keyshawn's vote, and Genevieve, Rome, and Sol joined forces and got out Keyshawn. It was a great blindside, one of my favorite blindsides in a while in terms of pre-merge. But yeah, Keyshawn was just thought he knew it all, and I'm glad that he got voted out low-key because granted he was a good player, but I can't stand these Survivor players that come on and think they're all that. It's kind of like Carson from a couple seasons ago. Although Carson was a better player than Keyshawn. Alright, so, superlatives. And oh, by the way, it was a unanimous vote on Keyshawn, so Teeny's vote wouldn't have mattered. So, Teeny, sacrificing the vote actually wasn't a bad thing for Teeny. Alright, best move. The Keyshawn blindside one, and then the other one I put down Sue Blood. And an honorable mention to Teeny giving up her vote because it wouldn't have mattered in that tribal in the end of the day. Worst move, picking Rome to do the puzzle. If Teeny or somebody else did it, maybe it's a different outcome. And maybe they're not a tribal. And maybe other people go to the retreat. Or not the retreat, the journey. Best moment. I love when it was leaked out what the girls' alliance and the Gata tribe's nickname was. I enjoyed that. My winner pick, I'm changing it. I'm going with Sam. I think Sam has become the favorite. I think he's played a great game so far. It's between him and Rachel, but right now I'm going to go with Sam. Next out, I'm going to say it's the Tuku tribe, and I'd say Tiana's out. I mean, you can make a case for Sue, but based on the previews I've seen for the next episode, it feels like Tiana's in trouble a little bit, so I'm going to go with Tiana. And no, I do not have a worst moment of the episode, which is a good thing. All right, now I'm going to talk about The Masked Singer. I'm going to talk about the first 2 episodes of the season. Since I didn't get a chance to do so yet. So there are 15 contestants this season. Group A is 5, Group B is 5, Group C is 5, and then same rules apply. Same group goes 3 weeks in a row. And then the finals, 2 people get unmasked, and then there's a battle royale at the end for the win. All right, so first up, Buffalo. And they did famous alum on this episode. Buffalo's famous alum was Nick Lachey. There was a slot machine. Betty White was in there, train station, National Treasure. And it turns out there are 3 Buffaloes, so they're the Buffaloes. And they performed I Just Died in Your Arms by the Cutting Crew. And there was a gift clue, and there was a crown. My first guess for this was Lone Star. Jenny went with B2K. Rita said Earth, Wind, and Fire. And Robin said the rest of 98 Degrees. Jeff Timmons, Justin Jeffrey, and Drew Lachey. Next up was Woodpecker. Woodpecker's famous alum was Jennifer Lewis. Woodpecker's been known around since she started. There's a sign with Next, Friends of Beyonce. There's a family sign. There's a gate. There's an SAT paper. And Woodpecker sang Flowers by Miley Cyrus. And then the gift was a world record in a frame. My early guess for this was Annika Noni Rose. Ken said Willow. Rita said Cardi B and Halle Bailey. Robin said Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer, I feel like, has been overguessed on The Masked Singer every year. Or every season. Leaf Sheep. Leaf Sheep's famous alum was DeMarcus Ware. There was a GOAT, a quarterback bubble, number 1, made a splash, revived the franchise. And Leaf Sheep performed I Like It, I Love It by Keith Urban. My first guess for Leaf Sheep was Tony Romo. And the gift was a Hall of Fame trophy. Jenny said Tom Brady, which was a good guess. Ken said John Elway. And Robin said Troy Aikman. Then it was Showbird. Showbird's famous alum was Joel McHale. Talks about being a tomboy and a nerd. There's a 401 on a book. There's a judge in there. Talks about blockbuster movies. And Showbird performed Just Fine by Mary J. Blige. There was Popcorn there. My early guess for Showbird, Yvette Nicole Brown. Ken said Jennifer Hudson. Rita said Taraji P. Henson. Robin said Kerry Washington. And then Ship went last. Ship's famous alum was Jewel. Ship talked about becoming famous rapidly fast. There was a wanted time of 15,000. There was an airplane. He said it took years to find their way back. There was an old TV. And Ship performed Pompeii by Bastille. And the gift was a cowboy. My first guess for Ship was Cher. Rita said Cyndi Lauper. Jenny said Joan Osborne. And Robin said Enya and Sarah McLachlan. And who got unmasked first? The Leaf Sheep. My final guess for Leaf Sheep was Tony Romo. Robin said Troy Aikman. Rita said Billy Bob Thornton. That was the worst guess. Ken said John Elway. Jenny said Tom Brady. I thought it had all the makings to be Tom Brady. And nope. It was former Broncos quarterback John Elway. So Ken was right. Obviously reviving the Broncos, that makes sense. DeMarcus Ware's connection was because DeMarcus played on Denver on the Super Bowl team that John Elway was the GM of. So there's that connection. So they've been calling for John Elway to be on the show for a while, so it made sense for John Elway to actually be on there after he retired from the Broncos front office and gave up his ownership stake. Or he might still have ownership stake. Who knows? And then the second episode was on October 2nd. It was Footloose night. So the show opened with Robin Thicke singing Footloose by Kenny Loggins. Showbird went first. There were diamonds, talks about reconnecting with an old friend. There's a purple cupcake. And the song was Let's Hear It for the Boy by Denise Williams. The extra clue was a music box and involved in a hip-hop empire in 1994. I stuck with Yvette Nicole Brown. And Ken actually said Yvette Nicole Brown. Jenny said Taraji P. Henson. And Rita said Sheila E. Ship went next. There were boots, class president trophy, a prom queen sash. There was a piano, a heart. And Ship performed Almost Paradise by Mike Reno and Ann Wilson. The extra clue was a locker with Whoopi Goldberg, Kevin Bacon, and Melissa Etheridge's photos on them. I'm still sticking with the Cher guess. Rita said Kate Bush and Sarah McLachlan. Robin said Amy Grant and Sarah McLachlan. Ken said Sheryl Crow. Woodpecker talks about being a child star. There's a rubber duck. A briefcase, a farm. And then Woodpecker performed Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler. Her extra clue was Kevin Bacon's shoes. I'm still going to go with Annika Noni Rose. Rita went with Letitia Wright. Ken said Willow Smith. And Jenny said Regina King. And then the Buffaloes went last. There's cacti, and they talk about not being brothers. There are cards, poker chips, a bar. There's a sheriff badge, a poison bottle, and they performed Wanting for a Girl Like You by Foreigner. The extra clue is Motown, and that made me have a new band in mind. Motown Philly, Boys to Men. So I'm going with Boys to Men. Ken said Belle Div DeVoe because of Poison. Jenny also said Boys to Men, but before that she said 1 to 12. And then Robin said the Jonas Brothers and Big Time Rush. And who got sent home? Showbird. Was it the right call? Yeah, everybody was good. But I thought it was Showbird that had to go home. No offense to Showbird. She was good, but not good enough. My final guess was Yvette Nicole Brown. So was Ken's and so was Robin's. Jenny said Taraji P. Henson. Rita said Sheila E. And it was indeed Yvette Nicole Brown. So yours truly had a correct pick for the first time in a while. Outright correct pick. So I'm proud of that. First impression guess, correct. Like, that is awesome. I'm proud of myself for that. And then the third episode, maybe we'll get into on Wednesday's podcast before we preview. So, going to be interesting. Now move on to the news and notes for today. I'm going to try to be quick here because of time. So, there was some chirping going on in the Knicks T-Wolves preseason game last night. Dante DiVincenzo was talking to Rick Brunson. Maybe Dante's mad that he got traded. So, not cool. So, there were 14 teams at Ohio State, Oregon. Cowboys, Steelers, 49ers among them. Travis Etienne week to week with a hamstring injury, not great. Michael Pittman Jr. says is still not off the table after playing through injury. Talking about an IR stint. Bad news for the Lions. Aiden Hutchinson was carted off the field yesterday in the game, and it turns out that he has a broken tibia, so he's going to be out for a while. That is just a brutal loss for the Lions. Pat Surtain got ruled out with a concussion against the Chargers. Marvin Harrison Jr. is also concussed, so you probably won't see him next week. Dallas Goedert with a hamstring injury out for the rest of the game against the Browns. As he left that game, Chris Olave got concussed against the Bucs. Derek Carr likely out 3 to 4 weeks with the oblique injury, as Spencer Rattler is expected to start. Nick Chubb expected back against the Bengals next week. Brian Robinson missed the Ravens game due to a knee injury. They missed him in that game. Joe Mixon came back for the Texans against the Pats. Evan Engram came back against the Bears. There's a rough Daniel Jones stat in primetime. He's now 1 in 14 in primetime games. So he's the new Kirk Cousins when it comes to primetime. Just don't bet it, as I did and made a mistake in doing so. Granted, Giants almost covered. Almost, but almost doesn't cut it. Jim Harbaugh had an illness, and he went away from the sideline in that Bronco game, but he came back. Hassan Reddick hired new agents, as the Reverend sensation has already spoken to the Jets about getting a deal done. Kevin Stefanski's not making a quarterback change in spite of a 1-5 start. Devontae Adams might not be traded after all, as they're content to hold on to Adams if asking price isn't met. Tom Brady likely to own the Raiders, as he's expected to be approved as the Vegas minority team owner at upcoming NFL fall owners meetings. Wow. Jaguars owner Shad Khan backs Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson despite 1-4 start. Well, we don't know now because they're now 1-5. The Jets are still having Devontae talks. Hassan Reddick accused of intimidation as he's facing a lawsuit for a former business partner. The Steelers are also in the mix for Devontae. The Cowboys are saving Zeke, as Jerry Jones responded to Zeke's comments on limited usage. Brian Daboll did not want to talk about Malik Neighbors being at the Travis Scott concert. He did not say a peep. Kayvon Thibodeau went on the IR. Expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks after wrist surgery. Not great. Devin Singletary out week 6 against the Bengals. UNC wide receiver Ty Lee Kraft passed away. That's really sad. He had stage 4 lung cancer. That's very sad. Carlos Rodon to start game 1, as we talked about. Garrett Cole game 2. Clark Schmidt game 3. Louis Hill game 4. And then game 5 would be Saturday. If it goes that far, which it probably will, that will likely be Rodon again. And I think the Yankees did the right thing by giving Rodon game 1, because you don't want him in a game 7 or a game 3. So they're better off starting Rodon in game 1. I think they did the right thing, because there's a lot of controversy with this. Macklin Celebrini on the IR with a lower body injury, not ideal for the Sharks. Max Muncy rips the Dodgers critics as he had a blunt response to experts who doubted the Dodgers' chances against San Diego. And Ashton Jonty on the Heisman talks. It said it would mean a lot to be the first running back to win it since Derrick Henry. Adam Schefter just tweeted a Aiden Hutchinson update. Aiden Hutchinson underwent successful surgery to repair a fractured tibia and fibula at the Baylor White Medical Center in Irving last night. Hutchinson will return to Detroit this week and expect to make a full recovery. No timeline for his return to play. Okay. At least the surgery went well. So there you have it for news and notes. And last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by Gamble. And hopefully Hutchinson will be back on the field soon. So yours truly went 0-5 in Fab 5 for the NFL. 0-5. And college 2-3. and was very close to going 0-5. So, like I said, not an ideal situation. And I am going to go with kind of like the couples soccer. I did like Turkey against Iceland. I did like Jamaica against Honduras. But I think I'm going to play it safe and go hockey for best bet. I am going to go with the under 6.5 in the Islanders Avalanche game. I just think that is an extremely high total. I'm going to lay 100th of a unit. Under 6.5 minus 114 between the Islanders and the Avs. So there you have it for the show, and I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to everything else. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.